Hello YouTubers, I have a quick little project today that takes care of your wheel chock problem. The problem being you don't have any. By making them yourself you can avoid the cost of a new product. Keep in mind that I'm not a mechanical engineer, so it's your responsibility to decide if this design is appropriate for you. If you plan to lift any part of your vehicle off the ground, you need to use both your parking brakes and wheel chocks to ensure that your car is not going to move. If up on the jacks or jack stands, any motion is a recipe for disaster. With a four-wheel drive vehicle, it may not always be obvious if your wheels will spin freely or not. It's always best to take the conservative approach and make sure your car is fixed in position at each wheel. The parts you will need for this project are pretty minimal. You'll need a piece of 2x8 board, and you're going to need about 8 inches for each wheel chock you plan to make. For hardware, you will need a couple of 2.5-inch lag bolts, washers, and the appropriate size drill bits to drill the guide holes and to knock out a recess for the washers and bolt heads. A driver for the lag nuts is pretty handy also. A power drill and a power saw will make this job a lot easier, and while you're at it, get some spray paint to finish it off in a color that can make it easy to find your chocks when you need them. Otherwise your chocks will probably get lost in your favorite pile of scrap wood. To get started, divide your 8-inch piece of 2x8 into two lengths, one 5 inches and one 3 inches. Little note on my saw, what you're looking at is a antique DeWalt real arm saw handed down to me from my dad. It was purchased back in the same week that JFK was assassinated, so it's been in the family for quite a while. It's worked really well and I haven't had any trouble with it whatsoever.
As I described, put the first piece in there, try to square it up, and then take the second piece in there. So you want to put a little bit more pressure on the first piece than on the second piece up against the tire. So we're going to mark that, and all you need to do is mark one corner here because there's no way it's going to be squared up.
Once we have our mark, we're going to use that as a guide. Take the other piece of wood, put it on top, draw a line across, and then we'll have a reference line to visually assure that we haven't had a piece of wood slip on us while we're working on it. The back side of the boards may not line up, but we'll take care of that later. It's time to drill holes for the two lag bolts and to create a space for the washer and the lag bolt heads to sit down into the wood so that they're flush with the surface.
Okay, easy enough. Let's put the washers in. Okay, so now notice they aren't quite lined up because of the measurement that on this edge, because of the measurement that we made. So we'll just trim this off with the saw.
careful not to get paint on my lenses.
Okay, so now we're going to give these a little bit of red paint. I find that it's pretty good to put something like that on there so you don't mistake it for the rest of your junk wood laying around. On goes the respirator and the goggles. You don't want paint in your eyes or lungs, and we're just going to use a little bit of auto paint to give this a distinguishing characteristic. You don't mistake it for scrap wood laying around the garage. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So now I have another one of these chocks. So next, let me get this off. So the next step is we're going to put this to the test. You'll see that they work pretty good. If that's still not good enough for you, there's nothing to stop you from adding another layer on top of here. Just make the first one a little bit wider and so on. But I think from my perspective it's really not necessary. This is plenty of good to do the job. Alright, let's do that. Okay, so here's the final product. What you can do is stack these for space reduction, and when you need them they're all set. What a lot of people say on the internet is that in some situations you want these tied with a rope. So for example, if you're using this on an airplane or on an RV, you could just grab one and then use the rope to pull the other one out. So you can drill a hole through here anywhere you want, as long as it's not blocking the functionality, and install your rope if that's what you want. So if you have any comments on this, feel free to leave your comments below. If you think these are not strong enough for your vehicle, feel free to add another layer onto the bottom of here and make them even taller than they are. One of the things about this material is it's wood, and the wood is soft, and it will grab the road underneath the wheel and has less chance of sliding compared to some hard plastic, which a lot of the chocks on Amazon are made out of. So thanks for watching, and until next time, see you later.